ritual takes place here.
Thank you. Okay. That took too long for you to know that, okay, but I'm glad you got there, all right? Second technique called control to the inside. Let's switch roles over here. I'm going to use my right hand. So, again, she reaches across and grabs my right hand. What I'm going to do, we're going to talk about rails. Her feet and my feet are on like railroad tracks. This is how you can help teach. See where the footwork is going to be. Anytime you're going to do footwork, you have to have some kind of ruler on how to help the technique work. Okay? So we're on rails. So the first thing I'm going to do, and we're not going to use the rails at the moment, but we're going to get into it. But I want you to realize we're not starting way out over here. We're kind of starting square on. Okay? Airplane, confined space, worst case, shoulder to shoulder. This is where the grabs will happen. Okay? Otherwise, it just gets better and better when they're off angles. Okay? But this is the worst way. First thing I do is relax. Second thing I'm going to do is roll my hand up, hit myself because she came right out. Okay? Hang on to me. All right? Best you can. Keeping my elbow into my side. What I do not want to do, you do not want to show, and I'm off angle on purpose so you can see my elbow. You don't want to start lifting with your arm. Okay? Let me use the Polish assassin for a minute. Okay? Mr. Buff guy here can hold me down as soon as I try to raise, push my arm back down. I don't have that kind of strength, right? Well, hold on to me. He can't hold on to me as long as I keep my elbow in there, right? So the body mechanics are incredibly important when you teach. Elbows in all the time. That's called leverage. He can't. He's got a fully extended arm against mine. Non-extended arm, leverage, okay? So, with this technique, I'm going to roll up so I can see the palm of my hand. If you're teaching high schoolers, maybe that's not true anymore. It used to be true. Oh, you write your girlfriend's number down, or some girl you're going to meet in the bar on your hand. So, you always talk about, oh, and read her number, okay? The other technique that's a complement to this is called control of the outside, in which case you want him to read his own girlfriend's number on your hand. Okay? Get that? Okay, so, but I don't want him to see that I got his girlfriend's number, so I'm going to move it to the inside like so. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come across and get a hold of his hand. Okay? My thumb is back here. My fingers are going to grab the meat of his arm, his hand, as big as it is. I'm going to step back on my own rail, orient my hand right down his arm, and push forward elbow to elbow. Notice that my escape is close to his hand. What you do not want to see, because it makes it harder for the technique, you'll see people come up and they'll pull out way up here, and then the next part of this technique is I've got to come down and get a hold of his hand. Look at the distance I have to travel, and he could just say, no, I'm not going to stand here anymore, and he just pull his hand away. Pull your hand away. Oops, and I missed the technique. This technique is called a control. You want to control his body, not escape. First one we had was an escape. Then we have two controls, and then we're going to do escape to strike where we got to do some damage. So I'm back here, stepping back, lever barring out. I come down and I catch his fingers and roll it into a fist. And that can be bad enough as it is. I'm just pulling his fingers back into himself. But then I want to bring it to my stomach. Okay? And then I can move him backwards, sideways, this way, or I can sit him down. Okay? Right? Called control to the inside, because I'm moving inside my body. The other way that we talk about it a little bit, I'm going to roll my hand along my stomach until I can read my palm. Okay, that almost helps them not raise elbows. Not quite, but it gets them more focused on, oh, I've got to go along the line here. Keeps it in nice and tight. You don't want everybody to see what's going on. Control the inside. The other part that's cool about control the inside that we teach is a variant. Once you're out, and once you have him captured, if he decides he's going to punch you, I'm going to turn away and bow. And I have to do that really slowly, because it will take his arm right out of that socket. Yes, Sam?
Is that the same one as far as you were saying?
Let me get close to you so you can hear. What was the question?
Is that the same example you used one time when you said just to rub your tongue?
It's exactly the same one. It's one of the few ones we actually rubber tongue.
Do you actually rub it or just?
No, you just try to get them to think that. You want to come up on a plane that's alongside your body, not out here somewhere, okay? So, let's go over here. For that throw again, what I want to show is many times during a control, you'll get a person who decides he doesn't want to be compliant and wants to hurt you because you're just trying to, this is my drunk cousin, and I really don't want to hurt him that bad, right? But he decides he's going to take a swing. When I turn and I bow, okay, which I'm going to come on back this way because this will be right about there. As I'm bowing, I'm actually going to extend myself this way, and that really locks up that arm. He'll forget completely about this fist coming at you, and down he'll go. So that bow is like so. I'm really hunkered over away from that strike and still have connected to him, and he's down. Okay? Control to the inside. All right, let's do control to the outside. Miss Wasserman, come on back over. Okay, she's going to reach across and grab my right hand with the same side grab. All white belt moves, same side grabs.
I'm sorry, you said that reach across.
Oh, that's true. Well, reach across this way, across between our bodies. Okay, so, but that's a good point. We don't teach any cross-hand grabs until we get the blue. And we'll talk about the philosophy in just a minute. Control the outside says I want her to see her boyfriend's number on my hand. Okay? So, again, keeping my elbow in tight, I made that out here. Notice it makes her arm nice and straight. Let's come on this side. Okay? You can see how nice and straight her arm is to begin with. Next thing, I'm coming across. I'm going to use my fingers here to grab the meat of her hand, and my thumb goes between her thumb and her finger. Boom. Now we're connected. Now the rails come into play. I want to step on my own rail behind myself. Keeping my elbow stiff, I'm going to step right on down her rail, popping off that thumb. I could break the thumb on the way across if I was really nasty. Go ahead and stand up a little bit. Okay? And we're in a position like this. You want it right across your chest. Next, we always like this. There's a little pressure point right there. You can see your buckle. Okay? That way, I mean, if people are doing this, nothing's happening. As soon as you see your buckle, you know you got her. And she's buckling good. All right? And at that point, your muscle group that sits right here at the very top of your forearm, you're just separating those muscles, and there's a sensitive area there. Okay? And that's what you're really doing when you're doing this. The reason why you do that is you want her to think more about this pain than the next piece of the move. So we do this. We also push her hand straight back up her arm, and doing that, you can see how she buckles with that. Okay? Even big guys do. So here we are. I won't punish her. We're squeezing here, and we're pushing here. Now I want to do a great circle. I'm going to go straight out till my arms are straight out. Okay? All the way around. See how she's starting to back up a little bit? We're not there yet. And then I bring her in tight. Okay? Butt over there. This is where I'd really like to have her, right here. Okay? And the reason why is, well, there's a lot of technique that follow from this particular position here. Now once I have her over like this, I'm sliding my hand down, and there's a separation between her biceps and her triceps. She's been working on it, I can feel that. And I'm burying my thumb right onto her bone, right here. Okay? And I'm squeezing. There's a muscle, there's a tendon group in there that, yes, yes, there is, that causes lots of pain. Right? That's important. Now, what happens is, I can take her around, and in our old syllabus, we actually whirl her around, and she face plants into the cement. It's really ugly. Okay, but right now we're just going to do this much. If she intends to stand up, I keep my right arm stiff, and I continue to put pain on that section as I lift up on her left. And this is like a fulcrum now. See that? So this is what you want to do. This is called control to the outside. Okay? Okay? Oh, it's so good. Now may I have another, right? But now that really helps you also understand where we're headed with these things. And really muscly guys, you'd be able to, we'll actually practice this in just a minute, but you'll be able to find that. Muscly guys, come here, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger. When you get into this thing, actually, let me take the other side. When you get into this thing, you can see between See, I mean, there's a hole in here, literally, between the triceps and the biceps that you can find very easily, okay? Big old muscle dudes, okay? All right. Next one we're going to move on to is called escape to strike. And I'll use you again, Miss Wasserman. You recovered from your other one. This one's relatively easy. Same side grab. She comes across and grabs. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hand parallel to the ground, getting ready for our universal law of escapes, which is one of the things we start trying to lace into the white belts in the beginning. They don't know what it is yet, but they're going to hear the term, okay? I'm also going to step on my own rail, just like we did the last one. This helps to clear a hole between me. I'm going to keep my arm straight, hand parallel to the ground as I step in, which is the identical move that we did before, right? Which, by the way, is almost our identical side stance, open horse stance. Okay? It's all laced together. And I'm underneath, in this hole here, thumb on top. You don't want to thumb around because grabs can be reversed against you if you have an opposing thumb hanging out there. I just want to capture this. So here we sit now, a good idiot check here, where we are. I'm on her rail. I'm on my rail, which goes through her left leg. Now, universal law of escape is going to start to happen, which is both bones have to go between fingers and thumb, one after the other. As I push my elbow towards her, she can't hold me anymore. Notice I'm nice and parallel now. Next piece that happens is I'm going to pull her hand down across my body towards my hip. At the same time, I'm going to be flexing my elbow like that, and it throws their head back, and it can break their neck when you make contact. She's not going to let that happen. She's been a good Anjing Bon Fa. She's going to turn her head away. But now watch me. Okay, that's what happens. Okay, that's the first strike. Second strike is we want to come down directly from here, all sitting here right on our platform right here. Matter of fact, I'm right on that sensitive spot again. You know, she was stiffing her arm up, but she's good Anjing Bon Fa. So now I'm not going to let you have that. Okay, but that pressure point now is right on my elbow. My elbow's right there. Back fist to the bridge of the nose. Okay, now if that wasn't bad enough, we're going to do an eye rake. The eye rake is really loose fingers. Remember, everything we do is relaxed. I'm going to be stepping back, leaving my arm here as long as I can, letting my body do the wind-up. As I whip that out, okay, back up in my guard, step away, back in my open horse stance. That's escape to strike. So we will let the group try that, and we'll pop along the way. All right, let me see. Ms. Wasserman, when we pick people to work together, it's usually not too random. It looks random, but it really isn't. You try to put a senior person with a lower person. Not always, but try that. The other thing is, you usually don't let boyfriend and girlfriend work together on dangerous techniques. Other stuff, it doesn't much matter. But on the dangerous stuff, you're trying to. Or you also, in some cases, put body types together. But in some cases, you want body disparity. You know, like you having to work with Simon. Big versus small. And if the technique will work, of course it's going to work, that'll show it out real quick. So why don't you give me your best guess on how you might pair up 5 students, you being the teacher.
Then I would have Maribel work with Simon and Sam, and the Polish assassin work with Mathieu.
Okay, make it so then. Go ahead, guys. And what are we going to have them do?
Let's start by getting used to the notion of the universal law of escape by starting with the first one that Sensei taught, which was falling backwards. The basic
escape to the rear. Okay, let's do that. Now, your job as the leader at the moment is to spend no more than 5 or 10 seconds per group. And you go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and make sure they do everything within reason. You let them screw up, right? We only care about them learning 30 to 60% of the material. Everybody gets too technical about it. Let them have fun. Make sure they're having fun, okay? Go ahead. Give that a try. See if there's any. You kind of got to watch. And sometimes you want to stand away a little bit and watch them so they don't feel like it's like yes. Okay, now I'm going to talk to the camera for a minute. The big thing about our white belt is that we take people in, and you'd like your white belt so that you can analyze who these people really are before you really give them any techniques that are really going to hurt somebody really badly. Which is always a good thing. It's like the little wading pool, you know, with the big pools and and you have a little waiting pool. So in white belt also, especially in America, and we are an American art, with a Chinese name, the whole concept, and most of the people come in and they know how to punch. Everybody's been in some kind of fist fight. So that's not the skill level you really want to try to encourage them to do. They usually don't have anti-grab. They certainly don't have a side stance, and we have 4 kicks and blocks. So you're starting to develop the legs and the balance and the perception of what's going on, not the macho kind of thing. Okay? White belts, that's good at. Now, one thing I failed to point out, when we break away, we always keep eyesight in our escape. Grab me. So when I'm here, I'm still keeping eyesight down the arm. I just saw Simone turn away and not look. Because you want to make sure and make that correction. Legendary senseis, you make those types of corrections, those are the finer tuning things. We like to keep our eye on our opponent at all times. Back when we're talking about stealing notebooks, that's an awareness thing. So you can see how this gets interlaced and interlaced and interlaced constantly in our art, and should be in yours. Now on your breaks, so important that when we teach them, remember, a hand has to be at the same altitude. Otherwise, they can hang on to you. Your breaks you're using the universal law, and you're getting out of it. You're getting away with it. But the breaks are down here. Right. And that'll be inherently a problem with students because they won't know the universal law of safety. They won't be as good as you, and they're going to be down here, as opposed to, okay? What's that? Oh, that was a defender attack. These are battle-hardened pants he's got on. Seasoned. Now.
Absolutely poke footed the bear. What was that?
Here's a point. Go ahead and grab her, and grab Sam. They can both do the technique. When that's applicable. On controls it isn't, but on that escape it certainly is. Maximum use of your people. What we had here, Mat Dynamics, Legendary Sensei, Sam was over there trying to work on his own. Wrong answer. In a threesome group, you always want to keep their attention on what's happening. Keep them involved in the studies. Don't let them break away like that. In a simple escape like this, you can utilize one uki or attacker to grab both. If it's a control issue, the poor guy's going to be going all over. He can't really do that. Okay, but always keep them involved. The other important part, I think, in Legendary Senseis is trying to stay positive with your students. We all tend to focus on the negative quite a bit. I was talking to the camera. We all tend to focus on the negative and this isn't right and that isn't right. And, try to pick out the things that they're doing right and then work on the things that they're not doing right nicely.